Hey everybody, Jackson Fuller here, high school sports reporter with the Star News and this summer soccer columnist. I'm joined by Dan Spears, who is the former longtime sports editor with us at the Star News and obviously still works with us and helps us out a lot in the sports section still from time to time, I guess. And Dan, a big soccer fan just like myself. July 4th weekend, kind of tough, or July 4th week, kind of tough to bring in some celebrities to come talk to me, so I grabbed our local Star News celebrity and Dan.
You're stuck with me. I apologize in advance.
The hot takes will be flowing today between us. So my column comes out tomorrow or Friday. The focus this week was kind of about Messi and Ronaldo, and kind of hoping that, you know, it's kind of fresh in our minds right now that they were eliminated from the World Cup. They didn't reach. They only made the round of 16. But I think we should, as soccer fans, remember the brilliance of them from their club careers and not necessarily hold it against them that neither of them were able to win a World Cup in their careers. Dan, how do you feel about that? Do you disagree with that assessment?
I think that you need to look at the entirety of their career. But part of the story is the failure that both of them had at the World Cup level. Ronaldo did win a European Championship with Portugal the last time around, even though he didn't play most of the final, but he was so good the rest of the tournament, it didn't matter. It's just, you know, you saw Argentina from the first whistle of the tournament. You're going, are they even going to make it out of the group stage? They looked terrible, and it's because nobody was helping, you know, Messi out. And Ronaldo's always had that problem with Portugal. It's just, is Pepe going to do something crazy? Is Quaresma going to have his moment of craziness and do something awesome? Otherwise, it was just save us, and that's tough to do. You know, it's like you wrote, it's an 11-man game, and there's a lot more difficulty in making an impact on the game. Which is why what Harry Kane is doing for England this year is impressive, because he is their one big striker, and he's coming through either creating penalty chances or taking them when somebody else has done the job.
For some reason, the defenses can't help but jump on Harry Kane throughout this tournament.
And well, he's a really tall Englishman, and that's what happens sometimes. So, and he's done a great job of putting himself in that spot. And I think, you know, Messi had some really, really great moments in this tournament, and Ronaldo too. That free kick against Spain was absurd, but you know, at some point somebody else has got to help you out, and they just have never had those guys step up in the World Cup for them to get them further than, or at least as far as people want them. I mean, Argentina did make a championship the last time around. It's not like they completely stunk his entire career. Just this was a really dud of an end for him. Honestly.
And it's kind of Messi's career arc is a good, I think, symbol of the Argentinian arc while he's been there, where right now he's not necessarily the same player he was, you know, even 2 or 3 years ago. And a lot of the guys on that team, Mascherano, Di Maria, Aguero, they're not the same type of players they were 2-3 years ago. And I think for Argentina specifically, this was kind of, you could tell they were dangling off a cliff coming into the World Cup. Getting out of the group stage, I didn't think they were going to do it after their first 2 games, but they were able to. But still, I think if you'd ask any Argentine supporter, they might have been disappointed with the result from this tournament.
I think they're disappointed in the result because they're Argentina, and no other reason. Because if you would have taken that Argentina team and put them in Iceland's shirts, everybody would have said they got about what they deserved. You know, and everybody forgets that Argentina was terrible in South American qualifying. They took to the last day to get in. You know, so they've been struggling for a long time. This was not a huge surprise when you get to the end, but because it says Argentina struggling, you go, well, Messi should be able to save this, and that's just not what can happen.
And it's interesting, on the other side, on the Ronaldo side, he's, you know, Argentina have had some great teams with Messi, and they haven't been able to get it done. Portugal really hasn't had a great team around Ronaldo, and I think he's been so used to that over the course of his international career. At this stage of it, he just relishes it, his ability to kind of put the team on his back. And I think, I don't know, just looking at him after they lost to Uruguay and looking at Messi after Argentina lost to France, it got a sense of Messi was severely disappointed, and of course Ronaldo was too, but I don't think he has those expectations that maybe Messi and all of Argentina does of, I have to win a World Cup, because I don't know whether he's more realistic or he just knows his surroundings, that it's tough for one person to carry a country to the World Cup championship. And I don't know if either of them will be back. Do you think either of them will play again?
I actually do. I think actually both will be back. Now, as starters, no. But in the in the Takeshi Honda role for Japan, or the Clint Dempsey role, the bring me in for the last 30 minutes and let me go all out. That's what I see those two guys, because they're too brilliant, and if they are even 80% of what they are now in 4 years, you would be silly to not do that, in my opinion.
And I think it'll have a lot to do with the manager. I mean, you look at, you mentioned Honda and Dempsey, but there's also cases like Landon Donovan and Ibrahimovic, guys getting left off the roster that maybe you older generational type talents that you would think would come, but they just don't.
Right, and I think those are two very, very different
Yes.
examples of what you're leaving off the team. Donovan, as a facilitator and as a guy in the middle, to finish, where Ibrahimovic needed all of these things.
Right.
And as you can see with Sweden now, they don't need him. I mean, they added by subtracting, and I think the U.S., not putting Donovan on there, I think it was a push. Frankly, it was like, okay, we have whatever. You're just not doing enough for us. But Sweden, that's a whole other game right
Yeah,
there.
exactly. It's hard to argue with their decision considering where they are right now.
Right.
Cool. So the quarterfinals start Friday morning. Uruguay, France at 10 a.m. Brazil, Belgium at 2 p.m. And then Saturday we've got Sweden, England at 10 a.m. and Russia, Croatia at 2 p.m. Dan, what are you? I did picks with Jamie Noble last time. We're gonna skip predictions today because I think, honestly,
I'm good with that.
there's a lot of favorites. I don't want us to all pick the favorites and be wrong. But what are you most looking forward to?
Boy, I'm looking for England to play a game that isn't a junior high drama festival.
Okay.
That would be great, because the Belgium game was a dud because neither one of them wanted to get hurt, and then the Colombia game was a disaster area from the start because of tactics and trying to impress the referee, and it was terrible. It was just bad soccer. I think the game that I'm actually looking forward to the most, though, is actually the Russia game, Russia-Croatia. Croatia's been good for a while. Russia is not good, and they are playing their system to perfection. And what home court advantage will they continue to use? And can Croatia's good players finally wake up a little bit? They played so well against Argentina, and you're like, that's the Croatia I'm expecting. And then we haven't seen them in any other game, really. And so if even 3/4 of that team shows up, I think they win that game by a couple. But we thought that Russia was going to get boat raced by Spain too, and then look what happened.
Yeah.
So
I think for me, the top half of the bracket, I'm fascinated by who comes through. But if I had to pick one storyline from it, it would be Mbappe for France. Kylian Mbappe, can he continue on the path that he it was a slow start to the World Cup for all of France, and then against Argentina scoring 4 goals, he was at the center of it. He just showed he was so much faster than anyone Argentina has, and he's going to be faster than pretty much anybody Uruguay has. And playing against, but the 2 center backs that Uruguay has, and Diego Godin and Jimenez, should put up a much better fight than whatever Argentina did.
I think Mbappe will be terrific in that game. I think the key to that game, though, is Giroud in the center, and because his job is to make those guys in the middle not cheat. Yeah. If he does his job, be a big giant white guy in the middle that throws people around, which is what he does. If he continues to be that guy and can hold the ball in the center, I mean, the ball that sprung Mbappe for the 1 goal from him was exactly what France need. When he gets the ball and distributes, they can't lose at that point. And if he does that again, Uruguay is in deep trouble.
I agree. I think if his hold-up play, it settles everything down for France. It allows Griezmann and Pogba to just kind of fly up, and then, I mean, they've got so much talent up there. It's hard for me to imagine Uruguay, although their defense is really solid, being able to hold them off for 90 minutes. But if they are, they might only need 1 goal, which is kind of the Uruguay. That's their tactics.
It's been their game. It's not that they don't want to score. It's not that they're playing the Russia attack 10 guys in the box thing. It's just that they just aren't worried about going and getting the goal at springing everybody forward on the counter. They'll build up, and if they don't have the build up, they'll pull it back and just try again. They don't. They've done this for a while. Like you said, this is their MO. Can they keep it going again? I don't think so, but
I don't either. We'll see. No predictions, though.
No predictions, none.
So thank you very much, Dan, for joining me. Jackson Fuller, I hope everyone had a wonderful July 4th, and I hope everybody enjoys the quarterfinals and the semifinals coming up this week. We're almost done, and then it's 4 years away from USA being back in the World Cup.
God, let's hope so.
Let's hope so. Awesome. Thanks, guys.